Amy Claiborne, Jennifer Ritchie. So this is our Treasure Martha Bartow B main. Or I'm sorry, this is the Compassionate Animal Hospital B main, sponsored tonight, brought to you, presented by Royal Land Management. So Royal Land Management has that car out, the pace truck out front.
All right, as Steve mentioned, it is the B main time for your Compassion Animal Hospital Crown Vics. And let's meet your starting lineup. Going from the pole, the number 17H is going to be Gary Holloman Jr. To his outside is the 0G is Sean Bailey. Row number 2 finds the 56 of Chance Saucerman and the 26 of Jonathan Avis. Anthony Mahone is to the inside of row number 3 with Casey Lewis to his outside. Neil Wallace rolls off 7th in the 9W. Dakota Dinkins is 8th in the 25. Jerry Lewis is 9th in the number 4. The 316 of Darryl Calder starts 10th, and the 12X of Tony Kilburn set to round out the field. Field team 1 to go. We'll go green this time by Gary Holloman Jr. and Sean Bailey leading them to the green flag.
Front row, Gary Holloman, Jerry Lewis. Green flag is in the air. Good start for Gary Holloman. That was on the flagger. We'll see if it stands.
Gary Holloman with a big jump on the start. He'll go out to the race lead over Sean Bailey. The battle is for third between Chance Saucerman in the 56 and Jonathan Alvis in the 26 car.
Out front, Holloman. Bailey second, side by side for third. Saucerman trying to look to the inside. Alvis.
The battle is for the third spot. Here comes the 22, Anthony Mahone. Thought about throwing it 3 wide there for a second, but he backed out. Chance Saucerman sideways through 3 and 4. That's going to send the 26 way up the track and leave the door open for Anthony Mahone. It looks like Neil Wallace going to try and follow him past into turns 1 and 2.
Wallace trying to make the move down the backstretch as well to the inside. Alvis tries to tuck in behind Wallace. All over the back bumper. Wallace has to check up, and Dakota Dinkins and Casey Lewis has to check up as well.
Mid-pack is where the action's at right now. Anthony Mahone up to third with Neil Wallace in tow. Chance Saucerman trying to hold on to a top 5 spot in that number 56 machine, but he's got the 26 of Jonathan Avis to deal with. Jonathan Avis and Chance Saucerman door to door for spot number 5. Just looking to the inside through turns 3 and 4. And it looks like he'll take it off of 4. Dakota Dinkins going to try and follow him past in that good-looking number 25 car.
Out front, though, it's all Gary Holloman, but the action is, as you alluded to, Matt, further back in the field. Side by side, if you're watching on Pit Road TV, Alvis in the number 26, Dinkins and Saucerman side by side.
Looking at timing and scoring here, the 2 fastest cars on the track right now are the 22 Anthony Mahone in third and the 9W and Neil Wallace in fourth. Neil Wallace always super competitive in that car wherever him or his son Jonathan go. Surprised to see him wind up in the B main, but looks like he's got her running now.
He's trying to get past the number 22 of Mahone and the 0 of Bailey, and if he's going to have anything for the 0 of, or the 17 of Holloman.
Sean Bailey squarely off of 4, leaves the door open. Anthony Mahone going to take the second spot, and here comes Neil Wallace looking for third in the 9 machine.
Down the front stretch, Mahone up to second, Wallace up to third. Little bit of a gap, 1.1 second behind the leader. See if they close the gap this time. Coming around out of score and loop.
Mahone was over a 1/10 of a second quicker on the last lap than race leader Gary Holloman, and he was 2/10 quicker on that last lap, and that was Holloman's fastest lap of the race. So Anthony Mahone and Neil Wallace in hot pursuit of race leader Gary Holloman. Off of turn number 4. Gary Holloman, your leader at the stripe. Anthony Mahone second. Neil Wallace is third. Sean Bailey has fallen back to fourth in the zero-G machine. Do Mahone and Wallace have anything for the 17H of Gary Holloman?
Coming around here to 3 laps to go for the 17 of Holloman. Mahone right up on his back bumper, separated by half a car length.
Battle for the lead going into turn number 3. Mahone to the inside of Holloman. They touch. Gary Holloman goes around. And he's facing the wrong way in 3 and 4, and that'll bring out the yellow flag.
That's exactly what Neil Wallace wanted to see. Gonna wait and see what the call is. Let's see.
Waiting to hear from race control what the call is going to be. It's like the 22 of Mahone going to pull that car off the speedway. Race control going to give the leader, Gary Holloman, his spot back at the front of the field. So that'll put him back at the lead. Neil Wallace now in second. That puts Sean Bailey up to third. Jonathan Avis fourth, and Dakota Dinkins rounds out the top 5.
So the 22 of Anthony Mahone tapped his roof saying, hey, if you're new to Auburndale or new to racing here at Auburndale, that's kind of their way of saying my bad. So he didn't mean to spin out the 17 of Holloman.
Choose cone is out. Looks like both Holloman and Wallace going to elect the inside. That's going to put Sean Bailey to the outside of the front row. The 26th of Jonathan Avis outside of row number 2. And then we've got Dakota Dinkins and Chance Saucerman, Casey Lewis, and Jerry Lewis bringing up the tail of the field as we'll restart with just 3 laps to go here in the Compassion Animal Hospital B main here.
And if you're
at
tuning
Auburndale
in,
Speedway.
I'm sorry, Matt. If you're tuning into the free preview on Pit Road TV after this race, you'll have to subscribe to continue. And we do ask that you, if you're able to do that, because some of the proceeds goes to the Joe Clites family as the green flag's back in the air. Another good start for the 17 of Holloman.
But he's got Neil Wallace to shake this time. That's the fastest car on the speedway right now, down into turns 3 and 4. As there'll be 2 to go at the stripe. This time by Holloman, sideways again, this time all by himself. Tries to slam the door on Wallace, but Wallace is there. Contact going into 1 and 2. Around goes the 17H of Holloman in front of the whole field. Everyone gets away clean. That's going to bring out the yellow flag once again.
I'm glad we don't have to make the call there, Matt. I have to see what the call will be on this one.
Yes, I don't envy race control at this moment.
Casey Lewis, she's got a flat tire, the number 95. Looks like the 26 does as well.
My guess is when they all got bunched up there when the 17 went around, they probably made some contact. Looks like the call is on. Both cars all involved. The 17H Gary Holloman and the 9W Neil Wallace going to go to the rear. And with Casey Lewis and Jonathan Alvis having trouble, that's going to totally reshape everything as that puts Sean Bailey and Dakota Dinkins at the front here.
Don't count out Chance Saucerman either in the number 56. Jerry Lewis in the number 4. Gary Holloman and Neil Wallace still having some words over there in turn 3 and 4. Exchanging Thanksgiving invitations.
Something like that. Don't know if there'll be any Christmas cards exchanged between those two after that one.
With just 2 laps to go to make it up from the tail end of the field. But as you alluded to, Matt, that's not that far. Just 4 cars to pass.
Yep, and both those cars have been fast all race long. Row number 1, Sean Bailey and Chance Saucerman. Dakota Dinkins and Jerry Lewis, row number 2.
Yep, he's got to tuck in behind Holloman. The rule here at Auburndale Speedway, if you are involved in the caution, you do not get to choose the outside. You've got to choose the inside, stay on the inside. As green flags back in the air.
Side by side down into 1 and 2, Bailey and Saucerman. Sean Bailey going to pull ahead off of 2, but not quite clear of Saucerman. As we're banging fenders, Neil Wallace throwing it 3 wide into turn number 3. Dakota Dinkins going around all on his own. White flag is out for Sean Bailey. Dinkins keeps his foot in it, so we'll stay green.
Out front, down the backstretch.
Side by side off of turn number 4. Who's it going to be at the stripe? It looks like Chance Saucerman going to take it in a nail biter there at the finish. Sean Bailey second, Jerry Lewis is third, Gary Holloman is fourth, Neil Wallace is fifth, Dakota Dinkins sixth, Casey Lewis seventh, Jonathan Avis eighth, Anthony Mahone is ninth, and Daryl Calder rounding out the field for B-Main for the Compassion Animal Hospital Crown Vics here in the Joe Clites Memorial.